actually had no idea how to get into it. And we are joined by Diamante from Impact Wrestling. Woo! AKA Melina from FSCW. Woo! So, Alex, how should we start this? Wow, we have a full panelist now. I love this. Anybody else want to join in? But pretty much, I don't know about you guys, but my journey into wrestling was almost an accidental one. I went to school for theater. I was an acting major, radio, TV, actually a double major, radio, TV production, and acting. Got a lot of weird acting gigs as a rodeo clown, stunt woman, worked all over. Ended up settling in Orlando, Florida at Universal Studios as an animated character, Sarah Connor, and a few other like dance roles. I always loved wrestling. I didn't think it was something I could do because it's like when you go to a university, it's not like a course you can take at university. You can't major in pro wrestling. So I didn't think that was something I could do until I met some guys who actually were doing ring crew for Impact. They're like, well, if you act and dance and do stunts, have you ever thought about wrestling? I'm like, of course. How does one get into wrestling? They're like, you go to wrestling school. I'm like, a what? They're like, wrestling school. Those exist? What? All right, sure, I'll go. Whatever. So I just went one day. Next thing you know, I signed up, and a million years later, I am here. So, wrestling school. Like, don't even try to wrestle without being properly trained. What about you guys? What is your story to getting into wrestling? It is like, hey, I want to be a wrestler, this is what I'm going to do, or was it like me, where it's like, hey, I do all these other things. I'm even rodeo clowns. Hey, you should wrestle. So, what's your story?
My story was, I was always a really big fan of wrestling, and I just didn't know how you would go about actually getting in a ring to do it. I didn't think that was possible, just like you said. So I was in high school and I met a group of people. I overheard them talking about like a Monday Night Raw. So I was like, let me join this group. And turns out they had their own little backyard fed, and so I started my wrestling career in the backyard, jumping on mattresses. And ever since then, I didn't want to be in the backyard my whole life, but I knew wrestling was something I wanted to do. And then I got trained professionally, which that again blew my mind, it being a possibility. So.
Awesome. What about you, Brian? How did you fall into wrestling?
I just worked out and looked great, and I just got signed. I'm just kidding. That's a lot my perceive being like a body guy. Yeah, no. It's all I wanted to do since I was 10 years old, and same thing, junior high, I wanted. What was that funny that I only wanted to do that since I was 10 years old? I backyard wrestled and whatnot, and I had fun with my friends. Like, I want to do this for real. So as soon as I graduated, I found a school. I trained there for a little while. I also befriended one of my favorites and mentors too, Chris Canyon, and he helped me out along the way as well and opened the doors to get to Deep South Wrestling when that was a developmental area, and so on and so on. Just pound the pavement, and some great advice too. I'd always gotten. I was trying to like bestow upon people too. Like, not only be serious about it. It's a lot harder things. Like, there's a lot of people that think like, oh, I know wrestling. Like, oh, I can just do it. Like you were saying as well. Like, make sure you get trained. But I mean, it's still as fake as everybody think it is. You still have to be a full-on athlete. And like the advice I always say too is to make sure, you look the part as far as like gear. The best way to get somewhere is to look like you've already been. And the same thing, another thing too from Steve Kern. He would always say like, oh, strip down to your underwear, look yourself in the mirror, and be like, would I pay to see this on TV? That's the thing too. Like, you don't have to look like me, but at the end of the day, going back to it, you should look like a professional athlete and be able to go in the ring like a professional athlete. Because whether it's sport, can you be like, hey man, I'm pretty blown up. Can we just walk this down? Like, can you maybe take it easy on this one? I'm tired. Like, no man, you got to be able to go. I know there may be differences for different occasions, but I've looked at it like entertainment or not, you should still be able to conduct yourself as a professional athlete.
Wonderful. What about you, Alex? How did you stumble into the world of wrestling? Was it something you actively pursued? Was it something that someone suggested? How did you fall into it?
Pretty similar to Brian. Lifelong fan. As early as I can remember, wrestling was like the first thing that kind of always popped in my head. And when I was about 12 years old, that's when I decided I really wanted to do it. It was actually a very specific match. It was Mick Foley versus Triple H at Madison Square Garden, Royal Rumble 2000. And I just thought it was the most brutal, aggressive match I've ever seen. And I remember watching that and be like, I want to do that for a living. Like, that's cool. It was a really cool match. It actually really helped make Triple H's career. I was a huge Mick Foley fan, and I just thought that match was awesome. And they had barbed wire bats. They went outside, they were breaking each other with pallets. So from there, I started training in New England with a pretty well-known trainer. He works a lot with Ring of Honor. His name's Bob Evans. He kind of broke me in a little bit, taught me some of the basics. Then I moved down to Florida, and I trained with Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and that's kind of where I finished up there. And then been traveling all over the world ever since. And to kind of piggyback off what Brian says, I mean, definitely make sure you invest well in who you train with, because that's super important. There are a lot of guys out there, and there's a lot of schools. But make sure you go somewhere that's that makes sense. Like look at their track record, look at who they produce, look at who their connections are. I myself and another wrestler here named Trevor. Trevor's one of the assistant trainers for Gangrel's school down here, and I help out when I can pop in when I'm in town. I'll stop in and help out. But I mean, guys like Gangrel are like awesome trainers. Leva trained at the 3D school with Devon and Bubba Ray. I mean, one of the greatest tag teams that ever stepped in the ring. These are accredited. Caleb with George South. I mean, that's another a great name in wrestling. So Canyon and Rusty Brooks for Diamante. I mean, he's another local guy who's worked with almost every single name in the business, just about. So, this just out of this core group of guys who've all been trained by people who produce stars, who were stars in their own time and era, who do their craft. So just do your homework and go somewhere worth it.
Always ask for the Carfax.
I didn't really have a choice in the matter. My dad was in country music business in the 80s, and a lot of the 80s wrestlers, Dusty Rhodes, Flair, they were into country music, and they liked to pal around with the country music artists, so a lot of back and forth. My dad was a wrestling fan, so when I was born, I was always at shows. My dad started becoming an independent wrestler. I was, 8, 10 years old doing lights or music if they needed to. I was like 12, 13, refereeing if a referee didn't show up. Then when I was 16, 17, I kind of started training. I had a buddy in high school. His dad was also a wrestler when he was younger. So then we kind of just decided we don't really have a choice in the matter. We just started doing it. So since then, I was in Georgia. I moved to North Carolina. I trained at the High Spot School in George South. Jake Manning, our Deadpool, is a trainer there. I trained there. George South trains there. I spent a while in Japan training with 01 under Otani, who's a legend. I've had the opportunity to train with Steamboat and Flair and basically anybody in North Carolina. So, and I still do it, at least once a week. I'm training with our students now, so just always training.
So pretty much a similar factor in all of our stories is we train. Like Alex said, look for a school. I chose to go to Team 3D Academy because I wanted basically to emulate their career. I wanted to train for someone that's been there, done that. They've been at ECW, TNA, WWE, New Japan, Old Japan. If you're gonna learn from the best. It's actually Brian and I were talking about something backstage. Invest in yourself. Wrestling school is still a school, so there is tuition. There is supplies you need. You need wrestling boots, shoes, knee pads, the tuition, gym membership.
Definitely knee pads.
Definitely knee pads.
Good one.
But I mean, we're all kind of getting ahead of ourselves. Basically, when you find that school, they're going to help you walk. If they're a good school, they will walk you through that. Okay, this is what you need. You need this, this, and this. They will point you in the right directions for, okay, so maybe here's a couple gym memberships. Some schools are attached to gyms, some are not. Team Fit Academy had a gym that was attached to it, so that's kind of part of it, and they had a personal trainer. Some you need to go on your own. Again, it's an investment. There's also lots of stuff online you can research depending on like, well, this doesn't really work for me, what can work for me? But yeah, it's all about investment and training. It's just like any other profession that you want to get into. If you want to be a lawyer, you have to go to school. If you want to be a doctor, you have to go to medical school for like forever before you're a doctor. Same thing with wrestling, you have to go to school. So pretty much that's the gist of it, I would say. I mean, once you're in school, there's a lot of other things you learn. You learn how to take a bump. You work out. I know a lot of times before you even get in the ring, you have to learn how to kind of, I know Team Fit Academy, you have to be in a little bit better shape, so you have to work out for a while before you even get in the ring. You have to learn how to have backstage etiquette. I mean, you help train. How do you, like, what do you guys do when you train students? What do you teach them? Besides just moves. Obviously, you learn the moves, but...
We're big on conditioning. That's like the biggest thing. You got to be able to, you know, have the lung capacity to do this, because you're in here. Pretty much, it's like explosive sports action. So there's a lot of running, sprinting. I mean, the typical ring is like 18 to 20 feet across, depending on where you go. So you got to be able to constantly do that for, you know, up to, sometimes matches can go anywhere from 6 minutes to 30, 40. I've done matches for an hour. So you got to be able to make sure that you can still go at the same speed at 5 minutes in as you can at 45 minutes in. So, you know, being dynamic in fitness is a big part of it. The moves, you will definitely go through all that in stages. It starts, you know, you crawl before you walk. So that's essentially how you walk through. Then you teach footwork first, then you work into rolling, getting used to it, because weirdly enough, rolling is actually what throws a lot of people off. It's the somersaulting constantly. It gives you a lot of vertigo, because your brain doesn't know how to process going upside down constantly. And you can do it once, you're fine. Do it 10 times in a row, and I guarantee you when you stand up, you're gonna be really disoriented. And then you do it backwards 10 times, and then you do it sideways 10 times, and then all of a sudden, like, your lunch is on the floor. So that's a lot of, like, with Gangrel School. He's very much like, he won't even let people you have to earn yourself, you earn the right to get in, even in the ring. So you start on the mats, and then you start your rolls there, and then you can graduate to the smaller ring and start learning how to fall. And falling, good luck. That's the make or break moment. If you really want to be a pro wrestler, you'll know after your first bump. Your first bump will tell you everything you want to know about pro wrestling. Because either it's painful no matter what, but it'll either give you a huge rush of like, yeah, let's do this again, or you're like, nope, and you just walk right out the door. I've seen it happen so many times. I've had guys come in and be like, yeah, I want to do this. All right, cool, man. Come in, they'll do it first thing, their first bump. They hit the ground, like, they sit right back up, like, shake my hand. Okay, man, see you later. Like, they're out the door.
Wow.
So, oh yeah, like, so yeah, your first bump will really tell you a lot. Then after that, it kind of falls into place, and then it kind of goes from there. But the cool thing about schools are, there's no exactly one right way. I mean, Taylor, like, how do they do it for you and George?
It's a lot of the same, but like all the old school guys say there's one way, and then everyone's one way is different. So it's more of an art than it is a science of everything has to be done in a certain way. Like everything is open for interpretation at that point. My specific styles, I try to make everyone puke on the first day, and if they can make it through that, then I ease up on them a little bit.
Do you guys have any questions, like particular questions on like, well, what do I need to do to get to be a wrestler? Or do you have any questions in general?
Yeah, if anybody has any questions about like pro wrestling, like about our
Because for us,
lifestyle.
it's like, oh, well, you train. I mean, all right, panel over, you know.
Come on over here.
Hi.
Where can you buy wrestling boots? Where can you buy wrestling boots?
Where do you buy wrestling?
Highspots.com.
Spots.com. Nowhere else.
I'll give you a card. That's the only
yeah.
place to make them. They're the best.
My first
He has no
wrestling
vested
shoes
interest in
were 86 wrestling ones. I found them at a sports store. I can also find them online. But yeah, Heist Bus is actually, I actually just talked to the guys this weekend. I need to bring a new pads. My new pads are falling apart, like literally falling apart. So I was like, hey, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Can I have some knee pads? So they're probably like honestly my go-to place to get stuff. But I mean, you could like shop around online, basically just kind of type. But like look for wrestling shoes or wrestling boots. The high spots is probably. Who else has a question? Anyone have a question about anything? Yeah.
Shoot.
Hi, Bill and Bob.
Hi, I just want to say I have been in training for it. Gangrel taught me how to bump, but I never completed my training, so I'm not a wrestler. And bumping is really nice if you like it. But how do you guys get involved in going to other countries, the legal paperwork to do that?
I think pretty much all of us. Yeah, you wrestle in Mexico. You live in Mexico? Oh, you're going to Mexico. You've done Japan. I've done China. I'll tell you about my China experience. I wrestle in China. Well, it depends on the country you go to. Most of you obviously need a visa. So if you ever get into pro wrestling, after you start getting your wrestling deal, first thing you should do is get a passport because you should be able to ready to go.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing, especially because a lot of the times when you get your first booking for overseas stuff, it's usually to fill in for a spot that some guy backed out on. I actually just recently had that happen to me. I got to go to China because a guy fell through and I got a call at 1 o'clock in the morning going, hey man, you have a working visa in China and I have a permit to work in the country. So he's like, can you be on a plane in 3 hours? I was like, sure. Literally jumped on a plane. I flew 20 hours. I landed in Shanghai, jumped another plane to Guangzhou, wrestled, got off the plane, went to the arena, wrestled in front of 5,000 people, jumped back in the car, back to the airport, back in America. It took 3 days. So, I think most places you'll need obviously a passport, and then in some countries you need visas. So it just depends where you go.
When I stayed a month in England, the companies I wrestled for, they're the ones that take care of your visa and your work papers. So that's kind of on them. If they're booking you, then they have to take care of that. So that is on them. So at least I've had the fortunate, I guess, I don't know if pleasure is the right word, but they've all taken care of it for me. So, because I know England's a little bit more like, why are you here? Okay, cool, you got the right paperwork, you're allowed to come in. Germany didn't care. They're like, hey, what? Oh, cool, you speak English, have fun. Buy stuff. Okay. So it depends, every country is a little bit different. Like I said, China, he went to China, I've done all over Europe, different ones. It's the promoters and the companies, they normally take care of the work stuff. You have to have your passport.
Yeah, it should really be up to the company. Certain places too, if they run like rough shop. Like I tried to get a couple of guys from Noah booked over here, but they have to have a major company be able to provide the visa too. So like, even if you're a good indie company, you're still an indie company. You're not a business, so you can't apply for a visa for that person. But yeah, wherever you get booked anywhere else, it should be the company supplying the visa for you. It's just that England's really strict on it. I've had a visa just about everywhere I've worked. And lots of people you don't even check on it, but you want to go. There's times where people will book them because it costs money to save money. They'll book you without getting the visa, and then you roll the dice because if they do check you, you're getting to sit right back on the next plane home.
I was just in Australia and they didn't give me a visa. They told me that the laws were very lax and it wouldn't be an issue. And I was like, hey, you know what, screw it, I'll try it. And I got over there and I saw them push a button underneath the table when I checked in, or I got into Australia. And sure enough, they pulled me right over the side, took all my bags, unzipped everything I had. I'm like, what is all this? And I just bullshitted my way through it. They made me think I was gonna go back to America for about half an hour, and then they were like, we'll let you go. But it could have been a real bad case otherwise.
Wow. I know a couple of wrestlers that got caught. JD Martinez got caught in England. She was booked to wrestle, and I guess they didn't get a working visa for her. And they literally sent her right back home, immediately home. Alright, I shouldn't say this, but sometimes when people come over here from other countries to wrestle, they ship their gear over. So when they're traveling, they only travel with regular clothes.
They can't do it now, they know.
So.
Cops are onto them now.
Huh?
Cops are onto them now. They're not gonna be able to do that anymore.
Yeah, so I don't recommend doing that. That's illegal, but I didn't say I do that, but I know people have done that. Yeah, no one else. What was the question? Yes.
Can I get a question?
Here, hold on. I'm deaf.
So when it comes to training for you guys, how much would you say goes into strength and conditioning versus like performance, like when you're in the ring and like actually performing, you know, like the performance training versus strength and conditioning? Because obviously most of you are in very good shape, you know, very strong and everything. So is it 60-40 at this point in your career?
Well, when I was first starting, I was training probably 3 days a week in the ring, and I was still going to the gym, you know, anytime I had a chance. Now I'm in the ring training at least once a week, and then usually I've got shows, 2 or 3 shows on the weekend, so I'm still in the ring probably 4 days a week usually, but I'm still in the gym every day that I can possibly be. So, I mean, you try to go as hard on both as you can.
Yeah, I felt like it was more the technique and learning the skill. Obviously, you do like progressions, normal warm-ups, like a little bit of blow-up drills, but I've always felt like the strength and conditioning aspect is more on you to do on your own. Because even if you do it and they do it at the school and kill you, it's still not going to be enough. It's got to be up to you to, you know, live it and dream it in the ring and out of the ring.
Yeah, same. I mean, I try to get to the ring at least once a week. You know, like I said, help out at the school train. If I can get there more, I like to go. Because I just like to go and roll around. It's fun. I mean, it's cool to train kids. It's fun to see like the excitement of what it was like to be a first year person in. You kind of forget. I mean, I've been doing this myself 15 years, so you kind of forget what it's like to be a young, terrified, you know, person learning this stuff. So. But I mean, I spend a lot of time just doing a lot of my gym training. I do a lot of plyometrics, a lot of sprints. I love doing like more explosive based stuff. I throw a little bit of, like, not too much, but I like to throw a little bit of CrossFit into my training just for overall fitness, for shoulder work, and my hips, things like that. But it's a pretty good split. But I mean, it just depends. Like they're saying, depends on what you're doing. I mean, like if I know that I have like ton of bookings coming up, I'm going to probably increase my cardio a little bit just so I know my lung capacity is going to be up there. So, but I'm always focusing. It's essentially 7 days a week. I'm doing something. I'm always staying active.
I know when I first started training, I trained 4 to 5 days a week. I would work during the day and then we would train at night. And then I would work out probably about the same amount, 4 to 5 days a week. And then I still do take acting classes, acting workshops, because a lot of people don't realize wrestling's a lot of acting. And not like, oh, it's fake, but it's like we have to do promos, you have to do vignettes, you have to be able to connect with your audience. I also suggest taking an acting class, taking a public speaking class, reading about it, learning how to talk and be more comfortable, doing stuff in front of a mirror, you know, learning how to do that type of stuff. Also, it wouldn't hurt to maybe take a business class and promotion class, how to promote yourself, or at least read about it, read up on it, like different like books or websites online, just to kind of learn. There's also a lot of YouTube videos out there that can also help teach you acting techniques, speaking techniques, as well as business stuff. Wrestling isn't just the wrestling. That's only a tiny portion of what wrestling is. You're a performer, you're your own business manager, you are an actor, you are a stuntman, you are, you know, your own coach at times. So it's exhausting at the amount of work I think we all have to put in, honestly, for it. So, but it's rewarding as well. Yay, did that answer your question? Oh, I have a question. Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. My question is, let's say you just finished your training and you're moving on to an independent promotion. How long does it usually take for you to adjust to that, said maybe the promotion's environment, like its fans and its arena, and then of course the character gimmick you may play, you know, overall?
I guess it depends on how you got that connection. You said a lot of schools, if they're doing a lot of things, if they're doing things that are really trying to benefit you, they'll make that contact for you, and hopefully, a lot of the times, especially when you're starting out, typically you're going to earn your spot, meaning that you're going to start out in a new place. You're going to be the coat guy. You're going to be the ring guy. You're going to be setting up the ring for months. You're going to be a referee for him. So you're usually in the very beginning. You don't start out just wrestling right away. You're going to be earning your spot on every promotion that you work for. I was setting up rings for like almost 9 months before I was even allowed to get in a ring. You know, I was trying to get work with them, but they wanted to see if I was serious and if I was actually committed to, you know, helping out and being a real part of the show. Because when you're young, you have to prove your worth. So that's how I was training it. It's a very much an older school mentality. I liked it because it built a lot of character in me on how I know I've earned everything I got, and these are things I expect from my city. Either people that I work with, and I always appreciate that when I notice that people are doing that. They notice when you're working hard. So usually in that case, it's you learn who all these people are. You learn by watching too, which is great when you do that. Especially when you're a referee, like that's usually where a lot of young wrestlers start doing that. Because the best way to learn is just being right there in front of the action and watching how these guys work. So that was my personal journey.
Going back to the pick and right school as well, as he's saying, it is, most schools usually run their own shows, and that's actually a perk too. They run their own shows or have a connection, because, no matter how much you train, there's still nothing like wrestling in front of a crowd. That's where you really get the experience once you're ready for it. And as far as just being comfortable and used to that environment, just like anything else, if you're like the new kid in school kind of deal, to each their own. Eventually you will adapt, you will perform, you will get comfortable, but it's just about getting into your comfort zone once you kind of break the barriers and break the ice and then get used to it. And then, it might keep on going the more and more indie events you go, but once you're building up a little bit of a namesake and whatnot, you'll get over it, and then you'll get the rush too from being out in the ring in front of everybody and look forward to it rather than being like uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of piggyback off of what everybody else said, but at Gangrel School, once their students start training, they actually run shows every other month or something like that, like student shows, to get them prepared for the environment of crowd or whatever the case may be. It's it's a smaller show, but regardless if there's 5 people or hundreds of people, it's it's still something to get used to in that experience. So, and plus you never really stop training. Train and you pay your dues, you work your way to get in the ring, you earn your spot like they said, but you always go back to training, even if you're on shows or on a weekly basis or not, but you always got to go back to training to work on stuff and to get better and to hone your craft.
Thank you. Hello, how are you?
All 4 of you are obviously in amazing shape, and you dedicate your lives to this profession, and I've got to hand it to you. How do you feel when celebrities or television personalities announce that they're going to go work for WWE, or in fact they're going to go wrestle with you guys? Does it feel like they didn't earn their stripes? They didn't pave their way. It's getting handed to them. How does it feel?
They're getting it handed to them a little bit, but at the same time, this is all a bigger business. It's not just about me or Alex or anybody on this panel. It's not so much about everybody. It's the entire company. It's wrestling overall. So if David Arquette comes in and wins the world title, but it puts 10 million new faces on wrestling, then everyone makes money, and that's really what we're here to do. That's why we're professional wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly. I don't necessarily see it as a negative, because I don't get mad when Arnold Schwarzenegger gets casted in a monster movie, a big movie. I just know if I'm in a movie and Arnold Schwarzenegger gets announced, I'm going to make a lot more money because it's going to sell a lot more tickets. So you have to think of it that way. It is a television business. It really is, but we're just our own stuntmen / actors / crowd psychologists, slash businessmen, because we're independent contractors. So we're wearing a lot of hats. So if there's a guy that can come in and make me a ton of extra cash without me really having to do anything extra, and he's going to earn his stripes. I mean, I know that he's going to have to take the same bumps I am. I mean, he's going to have to take, sure, he may have gotten a little bit there faster, but I can't fault someone for having an opportunity. So I'm not going to sit there and begrudge a guy. Because there's all kinds of guys who have famous fathers or, second, third generation wrestlers, but they still train and they still went to school, so they got there a little faster, but I mean, I'm there, so cool, we're all part of the family, so, you have to have that working relationship with everyone, because every single one of us, we have to trust each other with our lives. And you really can't have petty grudges like that, because that can affect your business, that can affect our health. So I'm not gonna sit there and be angry at this dude because he got there faster and go into a match with him, because that can get dangerous when you have that kind of stuff. So, try not to sweat that kind of thing.
I don't mind it at all when there's a celebrity guest appearance or the G and Raw. I think that's great. It brings more awareness to the business and gets more eyes on the product. And even I've been there too, where second, third, whatever generation people were just handed contracts. I'd rather family, within the family stay up there rather than other people from outside the business get handed contracts. And very few of those even last or turn out very well. My problem with it is they're there is the fact of their lack of respect or appreciation for the business against me. And even if they're friendly and personal, I get along with them. It's just it hurts you a little bit. But then everyone wants to cry about CM Punk getting an opportunity in the UFC. I'm like, well, now I know how we feel half the time. So
He's doing great.
Yeah, I've
Jeffrey got 2 million views the other night. He didn't even shake my hand, piece of crap.
Well, my thing
Look what happened to
Probably
him.
catering
Look
too.
what happened to him. Amazon took him out again.
Well, my thing is, this business, if you're always looking at, well, what is that person doing? What is this person doing? Why are they getting that spot and I'm not? You're going to drive yourself insane. It's just like acting or anything else. You're going to get told no a lot more before you get told yes. So if you're like, well, why did they pick her, blah, 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 because she's been on this TV show or whatever, drive yourself insane. You can't do that. I don't pay attention to a lot of things because I create a happy bubble for myself, and I actually kind of like it. But for instance, a good example, everyone's oh, well, they're using Ronda Rousey. She's not trained or anything. Wrong. She's been at the Performance Center for 6 to 8 months before she ever showed up on Royal Rumble. She was secretly signed and training every day.
And also to touch on that too, she loves professional wrestling as a big fan as well. It's just like Matt Riddle is phenomenal talent. The reason why he transitioned so well from UFC is because he's been a lifelong fan as well. So there again, it's awesome he's got opportunities to obviously proved it because he's amazing, but he also already had the love and appreciation for it. That's what I was going back to earlier. You have other people who don't even want to be a wrestler. Oh, I think this is real sport. This should be easy. They find out it's not so easy, and they have no desire for it. A lot of guys, when I was developing, they got released. They never wrestled again. They're not going to go hit the indies or try to make a business elsewhere. I'm not going to be a TV star. Well, F this and go do something else then. So.
Well,
And that's where the respect, that's where the respect, the line is drawn there, the respect. Because Matt Riddle loves it and he wants to do it. He respects people. He understands how to, have etiquette and how to carry himself. Other people could, like you said, could care less and go on with their lives and figure out how they're going to, make their next dollar.
A lot of celebrities have a passion for wrestling. Seth Green keeps doing appearances on Raw because he's genuinely a huge, giant fan of wrestling. So for him, it makes his life to get in the ring maybe once every couple of years and get to do something with The Rock. It helps them because, oh cool, big star from Austin Powers in the Buffy series is now on Raw for one night only. It helps promote them, and it also helps promote him, because now, oh yeah, it's that dude from Austin Powers, oh he's really cool, let's follow him on Twitter. So it's kind of a cool business deal, but a lot of them do have passion. For example, we use Josh Peterdorf, the voice of Road Dogg, a lot here, because he genuinely is passionate about wrestling. He's a huge fan, loves wrestling, and just wants to be involved. But the thing is, he actually has worked on stuff and learned stuff and studied the craft a little bit. It's not really, he's genuinely into it. So I think when people are genuinely into it, it's really cool. It's for me, when I get opportunity to get to do
acting. You know, I've studied for it, but it's also my main focus is wrestling. So when I get to do that, I don't want an actor like, well, why is she here? She's a wrestler. You know, you gotta kind of look at it both ways. So, I'm sorry, I wrote that for a second. Yay. Who else has a question? Male question in the back. Hi, how are ya?
Question for all of you. What do you do to get ready before a match? Do you listen to music? Do you eat, protein stuff? Mindset, what do you do before this or WWE or whatever?
Thank you.
To be honest, I actually stay super relaxed. I'm not one of those guys that needs to, I don't need time to I don't need my own space. I just like to be very leisure, drink a bottle of water. I walk around, shake hands and stuff, just mingle. Yeah, I just like, that's just me. And that's even when I was in sports, that's just how I was. I could just always turn it on. So I could stand out in front of the curtain, and then as soon as I walk through, it's a light switch for me. So I just like to loosen up a little bit and maybe a couple push-ups or whatever, but that's me.
I like to chew some gum and get the blood flowing. So I'm really big on getting kind of hype. So I'll hype myself up. I'll bounce around and stretch. I'll do some squats, get the blood flowing. Grab my piece of gum and hit the curtain. That's what I do.
Yeah, just be like any other sport that you're about to play. You can just go out there and do it, but I prefer to do, if the time permits, some dynamic stretching, warm up, kind of clear my mind mentally to get in the zone for whatever we're gonna have to do. But it's nothing specific or crazy.
I nervous pee all the time. I have to go to the bathroom at least 10 times before a match.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Nervous pee, man.
A lot
Where's
of people.
Caleb?
It's a real
Oh,
thing.
he's in the bathroom.
A lot of people have that nervous pee though, a lot.
I know, we go through a ton of water and then all of a sudden everyone disappears real quick, about 5 minutes.
I always have that sensation right before a match, oh man, I have to pee, but I don't really have to pee.
I will say that, the second before I go, I'm like, I gotta pee, but I'm good.
My dance background, I do a lot of stretching and warming up when I first, right before I go out, so you'll see me stretching, doing all sorts of weird, crazy yoga looking things. That also helps me focus and think as well. I also am really weird and superstitious. I have to have candy, preferably sweet tarts, before a match.
It's true.
I don't know if that's just me telling myself I have to have it so I can get away with eating candy, but if I don't eat candy right before a match, I feel like bad things happen. I break an ankle or something. So now I have sweet tarts and a Monster right before a match. So that's probably why I'm cast as Jinx here. But yeah, so that and a lot of weird yogi stretching that I do right before a match. We're going to have time for maybe one or two more questions. Who has a question? Who haven't asked one yet? Hi, how are you?
I was wondering for each of you, what is really the hardest part of your career? Is it dealing with finances, injuries, travel?
Injuries for me. That has to be the worst thing of my life that I've ever experienced. So I've been wrestling for almost 10 years, 9 going on 10, and I've never been seriously injured. The way my luck works out for me, sometimes I get lucky, and then I get pushed 2 or 3 steps back, and then I get lucky and I get pushed back. So that seems to be my ongoing trend at the moment, and just be careful out.